I think we all agree with that. We've talked about extensively with how we're going to utilize our outfield and how that's going to shake out. And then also we've got three catchers that all three do some really good things, and we're excited to get our eyes on them and see and how they fit with our club.
Hey, Matt, when you went into this off season, I don't know if you had a checklist or whatever, but can you just sort of go over if you met all the things that you wanted to do this off season?
Yeah, we feel like we upgraded the talent on our roster and added some power that's been lacking in recent years, especially with the trades we were able to make to bring in some guys with some thump. We used our pitching depth, which we're always hesitant to do because depth can be fleeting, but we felt that we could balance the club out better with the trades that we made and the signing of Steve Pearce, and feel like we're a more balanced and more formidable club going into the season.
Are you a better club?
I feel like we're a better club. You look year over year at the talent on the roster and also the depth that we have. I feel like we're a better club this year. Last year the injury bug really got us, and especially when we had three of our starters out, starting pitchers out, we had a real tough time getting through that. But I look at the club this year and feel like the overall talent level is higher, and we're looking to get Alex Cobb back in July and add him to what's going to be a very strong rotation. So. The talent is there, the belief is there within the clubhouse, and it's just a matter of going out there and winning ball games.
Matt, as you kind of analyze that, you alluded to the rotation. What do you see as the strengths? And I think maybe some people would suggest the bullpen is the area of weakness. How do you kind of analyze what you have and what you need to see?
We feel good about our starting pitchers. We enter camp with five guys, established positions, and Blake Snell, who's sitting, knocking on the door, along with a couple of others, and so we feel like we're covered in terms of depth, and also the talent level is very high. The bullpen is going to be more of a place where there's competition. Signing Ryan Webb today helps. Another established veteran arm guy gives us a little bit different look. A ground ball guy, and we haven't had someone like that in a couple of years. That's a nice element to have, but there's going to be competition in that bullpen. We can't replace Jake McGee's performance and productivity, but we feel like we have a lot of good arms that'll compete, and we'll see how it shakes out this spring and throughout the year.
Matt, was this offseason a little more comfortable for you because you didn't have quite the adjustment as far as finding a manager and doing all the other things you had to do administrative-wise as opposed to just attacking the baseball?
Yeah, it just felt a little more manageable on all fronts. With Kevin in the office a lot this off season, working, helping, and pitching in. We had a stable group of executives, leading the department, and we were able to focus on planning and execution as opposed to last year, really just trying to make sure we kept the ship together and and added a great manager and someone who can be here a long time.
How fluid is this roster as you go into the spring? Might you add a player or two?
Yeah, it seems like the transaction window is open longer these days, and teams are more open to making trades during spring training and even leading up to the season. We don't predict anything in particular, and we don't expect anything, but I think clubs are consistently looking to improve themselves, and so there's going to be a lot more dialogue this spring than there has been in previous springs.
Two questions. First, Kevin, as far as the bullpen seam, even though you may not like the word closer, Boxberger is pretty set at the back end. Do you see that setup crew evolving? Do you see it being a lot of different guys? Do you hope one guy emerges to kind of be that other guy, that eighth inning type of guy, or?
Short answer, I think that, it's fair to say what Box did. He's kind of put himself in that role, and he did a tremendous job for us last year. We are going to have to find some things out on the bullpen, like Matt alluded to. The one thing I think going into this spring that will be a little bit different is we're going to challenge some of our pitchers to extend themselves a little bit from the bullpen. So maybe not quite so many one-inning guys, and let's have some guys that can get us four plus outs. and add to the dynamic of how we want to run things. So, but no, I don't think anybody is set in stone saying we have to have an 8th inning guy.
And then, Matt, on a different subject, do Matt Moore and Drew Smiley, do they come into camp fully healthy? Do they come into camp with some type of predetermined innings limit, or how will you manage their workloads? They obviously would be far short of a full season, even with a 20% increase.
Yeah, and we'll be talking to the medical staff further and working with those pitchers and making sure that we have a plan. But heading into spring, they're both full go, and there shouldn't be restrictions on them. We're always cautious with our pitchers. We're cognizant of injury prevention and making sure we don't tax them. But both guys are full go, and with Matt Moore coming back last year, he was able to get in the number of starts and the number of innings to make us feel good that he has a foundation to be able to pitch all year.
This, I guess, for Matt or Kevin, either way. Just what's an update on Desmond Jennings, his health now, and where you see him fitting in this year?
Yeah, Desmond's in a good spot. We all know it was a trying season for him between the knee and then at the end of the year with the tooth or the infection, which actually caused a considerable amount of pain. But seeing him at the Trop the other day, Desmond appears like he's lost a couple pounds. Not that he needed to, but being smart about the workload and his legs. So he seems to be very eager to come in, and we're excited to have Desmond. I mean, we saw him briefly, but when we did see him last year, he can really impact our club in a lot of positive ways.
Matt, with the additions of the free agents at first base over this offseason, the competition factor going into there, do you feel like you guys at this point need to make a move, or fiscally do you need to make a move?
Yeah, we don't feel like we need to make any moves. There certainly is a bit of a logjam on the roster, and we probably have one too many guys if the season started today, but we got 7 weeks to go before opening day. A lot takes place, both with us and throughout the industry, and so we've dealt with this dynamic before. We got a bunch of professionals, we got a bunch of veterans who are going to get their at-bats, get ready for the season, and we'll see how things shake out over the course of the spring.
Matt, going back to the Corey Dickerson trade, tell us what you were thinking, what you liked, what you saw, and willing to part with a talent like Jake McGee to get him.
We like to say that it takes trading good players to get back good players, and over the years we've traded some really good players, and Jake is one of those. And he's going to be really tough to replace, and we're going to miss him. And he's with us for 11 years, I believe. We were able to get back in Corey Dickerson, a player we think can hit in the middle of our lineup for several years. He's got 4 years of control. He's a young hitter. Last year was a tough year for him with a couple of different injuries, but we feel like he's got a great foundation. He's a gifted hitter who happened to hit in Coors Field. It's a great place to hit. Now he gets to hit in Tropicana Field and play almost all of his games at sea level. That's a good thing. And we've seen with hitters that there's an adjustment, but good hitters hit. And we've seen that in his career. He's a good hitter, and we're excited to add him to the lineup. He's going to be one of 9 guys. Doesn't have to shoulder too much of the burden, but we feel like adding him and some of the other guys gives us a much more formidable lineup 1 through 9.
Kevin, it seems like these first days and official first report days seem to be more and more formality. How excited are you about the guys' work ethic to be showing up earlier and earlier every spring training?
Yeah, I mean, this is what we want as an organization. We probably had 40, close to 50 guys out there today. The big difference this year is that when you see him, you go up, run up and give him a hug, and how's the off season? There's a lot of energy, whereas last year there was more shaking hands and introducing. Just coming in off the field today, I saw Xavier Cedeno and Alex Colomé come out there, and last year it was different. I probably would walk over there and kind of somewhat of an awkward conversation. This year you're kidding around with them, and it's a credit to the guys, their work ethic to get out here. I mean, a lot of them are up north and they want to get in the sunshine and get on the field, but nobody has to do that. And we've got a number of guys that have been here over the last couple weeks already, prepping for that first day of spring training.
Yeah, Matt guy to bounce back.
It's not easy, but we look at historical track records, and we look at the character of the guys, and those are the guys that we bet on. Steve Pierce had a down year for himself last year, but it's still a productive year, and we think he can be the type of slugger that we saw and that we actually saw firsthand at Tropicana Field. He's going to be a big part of our club this year. Logan Morrison's another guy we're hoping for a bounce back. He's a good hitter. He's got power. He played in another difficult ballpark, and we think coming into the AL East, there's some friendlier ballparks, and that's gonna help him. And it helps a lot of hitters' confidence to be able to hit in some of these smaller ballparks. Desmond Jennings, another bounce back candidate. As Kevin said, he's incredibly talented. When he's on the field, he's got the chance to be the best player on the field, and we see him healthy. It's been good to see him at the Trop, and he should be full go this year and add a dynamic element to our lineup and to our outfield. A couple other guys that are bounce back candidates, but we look for that. Guys who've had down years last year, it was we're hoping it's a blip. We're hoping it's something that can be reversed, and for a lot of these guys, there are good things for us to be able to bet on.
Whitley, are there anyone who has any restrictions going into camp? Is there anyone you expect to be late? Obviously, you mentioned Kyle.
The only one that we haven't spoken about, Justin O'Connor is having a little bit of back discomfort and should be limited to start. But we'll have an update on him in the next several days. Other than that, there aren't any new health updates.
This is for both of you guys. Do numbers point to the fact that starters are faring better when they're only going 2 times through the order? Is that why you want your relievers to be able to go longer? You want that?
Yeah. I mean, that question gets asked quite a bit. We want our starters to give us a chance to win games. How we manage them, go as far as they can go, and we'll discuss and decide what's best. Last year we took an approach that was I won't say criticized, but scrutinized a little bit. It worked out in our favor quite a bit. When it didn't work out, we had to answer some questions. This year, we're going to be better for that, but we have a different set of starting pitchers. If we're healthy coming out of camp, we'll have to regroup and kind of think what's best suited for our team going into the season. First and foremost, we need to be healthy. And then it is a little bit different bullpen dynamic. That's what we were talking about earlier with getting some multiple inning pitchers in there, or 4 and 5 out guys. But we try our best not to let any of that entertain our thoughts, our pitchers' thoughts. Just go pitch. We know we have a very talented starting staff.
The other thing to add to that is that we played a ton of one-run games last year. It was so often that at 5th or 6th inning it's a tie game, or we're up 1 or down 1. One of the reasons why we focused on upgrading the offense was to be able to score more runs and give ourselves a little bit more breathing room and distance, and that allows Kevin and the coaches to manage the game differently. When we're playing in one-run games every night, it's tough. It's tough to piece together the innings and make sure that we keep everyone fresh.
Hey, Matt, 2 questions. One, what Kevin mentioned, what is the thinking from the front office behind the extending the relievers a little bit, trying to get 4 and 5 and bridging an inning or 2?
Spring training is a time for guys to prepare themselves for what might be in the regular season, and we feel it's prudent just to make sure that our relievers build themselves up in a way that gives us flexibility. It would be great to have a starter go 7 innings, hand the ball off to a reliever in the 8th, and close it out in the 9th and win a ball game. And if that happens, fantastic. But we want to make sure that we have enough contingencies where we don't have issues covering innings. If there's an injury to a starter, if a guy doesn't go very deep, we want to make sure that we have the length to be able to have a fresh pen the next day and not have it affect our club that day or for a couple games down the road.
So use fewer guys on a nightly basis, in theory.
Potentially, it just gives us more options to know that a guy is stretched out heading into the season and isn't necessarily limited to an inning. There's lots of reasons for a guy to pitch an inning, and it would be great if it lines up that way, but it doesn't always, and just that extra flexibility should be helpful.
And then the other question: what have you heard from your people on Blake Snell? You alluded to him, and just as a pitcher and as a person, maturity, all those kind of things.
We've heard nothing but great things about Blake. He's one of the most talented arms in minor league baseball. He won basically every award there was last year, and his progression was very rapid. Through 3 levels last year and ending up in AAA. Frankly, if we had been a little bit closer and more in the thick of things, probably would have had a chance to make his debut at Tropicana Field last year. We need to make sure that he has the foundation of innings necessary to get through a season. He didn't get that full workload last year in part because of the absence of that call-up. But his development comes first, and make sure that we do everything we can, just like we do with all of our pitchers, so that when they get called up, they have what they need to be able to stay here and pitch with us without interruption.
Hey, Kevin, as you start your second year, is there something last year that you wish you would have known coming in that now you know or that you would have done differently?
Yeah, there's plenty of things. As far as, the in-game stuff is something that you try to learn as much from. The communication that takes place in game. I mean, it happens fast, and I think I admitted that the first month of the year last year that you can think it's fast, but it's faster once you get out there. So just to be more prepared for some of those situations that arise during the game, and then off the field or in the clubhouse, the communication just doesn't stop. We're in a better spot, or I personally am, simply because you think you know your players a little bit better, but you got to continue to keep finding out about them and continue building that relationship.
Matt, you said you think this team is better. Is it playoff better? Is it good enough for the playoffs?
Since 2008, we come into camp thinking that our team can compete for the playoffs. We felt that way last year. We felt that way the year before, and we feel that way this year. That's the goal. The goal is meaningful games in September, and those September games translate into the playoffs. Our payroll is what it is. Fortunately for us, payroll doesn't dictate the standings. Computers don't dictate the standings, although sometimes we wish they would. But the guys in the clubhouse, they have the belief, they have the confidence, they have the talent to go out and compete in the East, and we feel good about our chances, as good as we can coming into a season.
Since you mentioned it, with the computer analysis producing the projection of the Rays having the best record in the AL East this week, how did that ripple through the office and the dugout and the clubhouse?
We haven't talked about it that much. In a way, it counters some of the pundits and their thinking, and you balance it out. And you know what? We're going into the season feeling good. I
think it's a great computer.
Maybe we should buy one.